Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, are you ready? Because I am back up here for my live review. I didn't think I'd be doing this tonight, but you know what? I checked out Monday Night Raw tonight, and holy crap, believe it or not, this was actually, I'm going to say it, I'm going to go out on a limb here. I thought it was a good episode of Raw. Holy crap, WWE, you actually proved to me. And it's been over at least a month and a half, it's felt like almost 2 months since I've watched a full episode of Raw from start to finish. That's usually a chore. Like I said, I've taken a break, but from what I saw tonight for the go home episode heading into WWE Stomping Ground, a pay-per-view that is lukewarm at best, and the ticket sales are not that good. I mean, there's still a fair amount of seats available for the Sunday's pay-per-view, so I thought this was a solid effort from WWE to actually prove that they can, when they want to, when they actually give a crap, of putting on an enjoyable episode of Monday Night Raw. Raw tonight, episode number 1360 from the Staples Center in Los Angeles, California. If you guys are joining live, I want to say thank you all for tuning in. Be sure to participate in the live chat as we break down the entirety of this episode of Monday Night Raw. And like I said, always enjoy doing these live reviews. Wish I could do more of these when I get the chance to. But yeah, it is great to be back up here. And without further ado, let's get right into this episode of Monday Night Raw. So guys, we kick things off here with what looked to be Elias. He was in the ring. He was about to crap on the fans of Los Angeles, talk about how he was going to be the special guest referee of the match. And Seth Rollins appeared, beat the holy hell out of Elias. And Rollins did the same thing, Baron Corbin backstage, beat him down with a steel chair, beat Eric Young down, beat EC3, who made a rare cameo appearance on the Monday Night Raw roster. So Rollins was in full I don't give a shit mode. I'm just going to beat the holy hell out of everybody that Baron Corbin tries to make the special guest referee. And we never got an announcement on tonight's show of who the special guest referee is going to be for the Universal Championship match pitting Baron Corbin versus Seth Rollins. And something tells me, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that I think the special guest referee will either be Brock Lesnar or Paul Heyman, seeing as how they did not announce that on tonight's show. And I think, going into that match, Rollins, Corbin, to me, it's just kind of filler until we get to SummerSlam. This whole Stomping Ground pay-per-view feels like a giant waste of time. But if you're going to make things more interesting, I think having Brock Lesnar as the special guest referee would be one way to do that, in my opinion. So we'll see who is announced for that spot. But we actually kicked off Raw here with a match, which was refreshing. United States Championship #1 contenders match. Fatal 5-way elimination. Bobby Lashley versus Ricochet versus Cesaro versus The Miz versus Braun Strowman. So Strowman immediately clears house. Cesaro is eliminated by Braun Strowman when Strowman power slams Bobby Lashley on top of Cesaro for the pin. Eventually, Strowman is able to eliminate Bobby Lashley by power slamming him. Strowman's cleaning house here. He's clearing out guys. Miz, Ricochet on the outside. Strowman picks up Miz for the power slam, but Lashley spears Strowman. Cesaro hits the Gotch neutralizer on Braun Strowman. So that was really an impressive feat there from Cesaro, the Swiss Superman. And Ricochet goes up, hits 630 on Strowman, and Ricochet pins Braun Strowman with Cesaro and Lashley on top of Strowman, eliminating him. So after that, it comes down to Ricochet and The Miz. Eventually, Ricochet is able to hit the 630 for the win. So it is going to be finally one match that I'm looking forward to at WWE Stomping Ground. It's going to be Ricochet versus Samoa Joe. And then after the match, Joe, who was at ringside, charged at Ricochet, but Joe was able to be knocked to the outside, and Ricochet crushed Joe with a cartwheel moonsault over the top rope. One little nitpick that I have here was kind of the selling of Ricochet with his leg injury. I wish he sold that injury throughout the post-match, with the little angle that they did it with him and Joe, the little back and forth brawl, and then when he did the moonsault over the top rope. I just didn't really see enough selling when it came to that leg of Ricochet. It felt like he's kind of selling it at times and then kind of forgetting about it. So just minor nitpick there. I enjoyed the Fatal 5-Way match, and like I said, looking forward to seeing Samoa Joe and Ricochet at WWE Stomping Ground. And shout out to Acer5000. Thank you for subscribing to this YouTube channel. Always appreciate it as we continue to grow here to 500 subs. And like I said, if you guys are watching live, thank you very much. Be sure to participate in that live chat. And if you have any questions, I will be sure to answer those as well. So let's move on here. We had Becky Lynch here, the man, come down to the ring. She called out Lacey Evans. Her and Lacey go back and forth on the mic here. Lacey says she's a former U.S. Marine, and Becky calls her out, gets in the ring. Becky grabs her, suplexes Evans, and Becky Lynch puts on Lacey Evans' hat. So I just cannot wait for this Becky Lynch-Lacey Evans feud to end. It just hasn't really done a lot for me, and for really Becky Lynch, I felt her momentum has kind of subsided since WrestleMania, ever since she's been stuck in this never-ending feud, whether it's Charlotte or Lacey Evans. I'm like, can we please get Becky Lynch some fresh opponents here, please? Please. Nikki Cross, Sasha Banks. You know, I would love to see a Sasha Banks, Becky Lynch feud for SummerSlam. Just saying. Just saying. I'm going to throw that out there. We then had, throughout the night, we had well, we'll talk about that later in the show. So, like I said, Baron Corbin was laid out by Seth Rollins, Daniel Bryan, who appeared because of wildcard rule BS. I mean, we had a number of SmackDown superstars. It's only supposed to be 4. We had Daniel Bryan. We had Eric Rowan. We had the 3 members of the New Day. We had the Usos. And I know they only count the tag teams as one, but still, it's just like, it's ridiculous here. We had like Bayley. We had like 8 people from SmackDown on Raw tonight. So I'm just like, they haven't announced it yet, but to me, the brand split is dead. So I'll just leave it at that. Daniel Bryan, Eric Rowan cut a promo, crap on the fans of LA, talk about how much pollution there is, and Bryan talks about his match against Rollins tonight in the main event and how he's going to destroy Seth Rollins. And we have the Viking Raiders, who finally make an appearance on Monday Night Raw. They beat 2 local jobbers and look dominant with the win. And like I said, I would love to see the Viking Raiders versus Daniel Bryan and Eric Rowan. I think that could be one hell of a tag team match. And then we had 24/7 title action here. R-Truth and Carmella. So R-Truth was shipped in a crate to Los Angeles. He arrived in the ring. He was actually seated at ringside. Him and Carmella were in disguise in the crowd. Locker room empties. They spot R-Truth. They start running after him. He goes under the ring. For some reason, Titus O'Neil is pulled out from under the ring, maybe because when he tripped and fell and almost went under the ring. That's what I'm guessing. And R-Truth escapes through the crowd. So, yeah, I'm really enjoying the 24/7 antics with R-Truth. I feel like he's really making that belt something enjoyable and fun to watch. And to me, it's been some of the most entertaining stuff that WWE's done outside of the Firefly Funhouse, which we will talk about later on in this review. We had Heath Slater backstage. He walked into Shane's little office setup that they had backstage. And talking about, can I get a pay raise? And Shane pretty much blows him off. And then Drew McIntyre follows Heath Slater out. Obviously, they have history with being a 3-man band. And McIntyre tries to give Slater some money. Money falls to the floor, and McIntyre somewhat viciously beats down Heath Slater. I'm like, that's the Drew McIntyre we need to see. That's the Drew McIntyre that needs to be on his own as a dominant ass-kicking machine. It's like, it shouldn't be that hard to do. You don't have to pair him up with Shane and, Lashley and Corbin and Dolph Ziggler. Just put him on his own. Not that hard to do. So then we had the Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn show. So Kevin Owens, that's another guy who was from SmackDown. So I think the total is up to 9 now. They introduced their guest, Baron Corbin, who's going to announce who the special guest referee is. And he announces EC3. But like I said, Rollins beats down EC3. New Day come down to the ring. Owens, goes back and forth on the mic here. And then we get a match here booked with, it was 2 out of 3 falls. The New Day versus Baron Corbin, Kevin Owens, and Sami Zayn. So we'll talk about this match real quick. I didn't really catch too much of this, but New Day pick up the first fall after Xavier Woods rolled up Sami Zayn to get 3 count. And then we had New Day pick up the second fall for Kofi Kingston, drop Baron Corbin with Trouble in Paradise for the win. So before this match actually got started, we had AJ Styles, who was backstage in the trainer's area. And who would walk in but Anderson and Gallows. And AJ talks about, how they've really fallen from when they debuted, and he missed the old Anderson and Gallows and got so soft and comfortable. You need to get serious again, and it made me want to just see so badly for AJ Styles to link back up with Anderson and Gallows. I did not like when they split them up. I thought that was a mistake. So maybe that is something the WWE will remedy, although I don't think they would, because Anderson and Gallows, their contracts are up, and I don't see them staying with WWE, but, they will be teaming up in Japan, apparently, and Triple H will be teaming up with AJ Styles, Luke Gallows, and Carl Anderson. So that is just something to watch there. Could a club reunion happen? I'd like to see it, but I am kind of doubtful on that front. We then had Paul Heyman, who I thought cut a nice promo here on the show, talking about, playing up the fact that Brock Lesnar has that Money in the Bank briefcase, and it's really driven Seth Rollins to a new level. Him beating down everybody viciously with a chair. But Heyman said there's no chance in hell that he's going to be the special guest referee. He said, well, maybe Brock Lesnar will be here tonight, or maybe he'll show up Sunday or next Monday. Nobody knows, especially Seth Rollins. So placing that seed of doubt in Rollins' mind was something that I liked from this promo of Heyman. And I'm actually kind of, dare I say, I wasn't a fan of Brock winning the Money in the briefcase at the time, but I do like the constant threat of Brock Lesnar looming over Rollins or Kofi Kingston. But I think in the end, Brock Lesnar will win the WWE Championship from Kofi Kingston. Whether that takes place at SummerSlam or on the first SmackDown on Fox, my safe bet is for one of those two scenarios to take place. So we'll see what happens. With SummerSlam fast approaching here in less than 2 months, we'll see what happens. Like I said, we then had Seth Rollins, who attacked Eric Young, who Baron Corbin was talking to backstage, and asked him to be the special guest referee for the night. And then we move on to the Usos versus Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson. And quick match here with Jimmy and Jay hitting the double super kick for the win. So I'm not sure if they're going to go anywhere with AJ Styles, like I said, trying to light a fire under Anderson and Gallows and kind of calling them out, which, again, really ain't their fault for the way that they've been booked like crap for the last few months. So that'll be something to watch and see if it goes anywhere, but I'm not really holding my hopes up here. Now, here's something that I actually did like a lot. I like what they did with Roman Reigns tonight here on Raw. He comes out, he demands Shane come out to the ring, prove that he can do something on his own tonight. Shane appears on the Tron, says, I'm the best in the world. I ain't coming to the ring, and you should be more concerned with your opponent, Drew McIntyre, who Reigns will be facing this Sunday at Stomping Ground. McIntyre calls out Reigns. He said he's going to give him beating so bad he's going to be disfigured, and that Reigns' own children won't be scared to look at him. This makes Reigns go right for a beat, back to the little suite area that Shane, the Revival, and Drew McIntyre had. Reigns beats down Dawson and Wilder, goes into Shane's office, attacks Drew McIntyre, puts him through a table, chases after Shane through the arena, dives over the barricade, tackles Shane McMahon, and Superman punches and spears Shane McMahon. And Reigns basically says he's going to kick Drew McIntyre's ass on Sunday. So I'm just like, that's how you book Roman Reigns. It ain't that hard to do. Dominant ass kicker. Doesn't say much on the mic. Doesn't have to. His actions speak louder than words, WWE. So I'm giving this Roman Reigns segment a thumbs up tonight, guys. We then move on here to the next match here on the list. Women's Tag Team title match. The Iconics versus Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss. I was really hoping for Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss to win the tag team titles, but Bayley, who was at ringside, her and Alexa Bliss get into it, and that leads to Peyton Royce rolling up Nikki Cross for the win. So I hope down the line, I'm really enjoying this Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss storyline, looking to see where it goes in the long run. And like I said, I wouldn't mind seeing Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross getting even if it's a short run with the women's tag team titles. We then had what was the best part of the show. It's the Firefly Funhouse. Wackiness, craziness, zaniness. It's too much for me to explain. But just this stuff with Bray Wyatt, I cannot wait to see what this eventually leads to, what the payoff is going to be for this. But my words will not do it justice. If you have not seen one of these Firefly Funhouse segments, like I said, this has really reinvigorated the Bray Wyatt character, and I like how he kind of referenced the image of the worms appearing on the ring in his match with Randy Orton. I thought that was great. I just love all the little inside references with Vince with the devil horns, Ramblin' Rabbit, and the Muscle Man did. I love it all. To me, it's different. It's unique. It's something that's badly needed on this boring and played out show that it usually is. With the exception of tonight, like I said, I thought tonight actually was a solid episode of Raw. And we ended this episode of Raw, I should say, with Seth Rollins versus Daniel Bryan. So the match gets going here. And then it ends in a disqualification after Eric Rowan steps in and claw slams Seth Rollins. Then the locker room empties. We have Revival, New Day, Owens, Zayn, the Usos. They all come out. A brawl erupts. And then the ring announcer announces that the match will restart one-on-one with nobody allowed at ringside. And we got a solid, I'd say, 10-minute match here between Seth Rollins, Daniel Bryan. I would love to see these guys get 15, 20 minutes on pay-per-view. It'd be one hell of a match for WrestleMania. Just saying. But Seth Rollins is able to land the curb stomp for the win. And as he is walking back up the ramp, Baron Corbin comes back, gets retribution, a little bit of payback on Seth Rollins, hits him with the steel chair, and lays him out with the End of Days, and he holds the Universal title up in the air. So we don't know who the special guest referee is going to be this Sunday at Stomping Ground. But guys, that does it for Monday Night Raw. I thought it was a solid episode of Raw. I thought finally, for the first time in months, we actually got a good episode of Raw. So I hope it continues. I'm not getting my hopes up, but if next week's episode is good, you'll get more reviews from me like this in the near future. Like I said, if the show is good, I will watch it. If not, I'm going to come up here and review it. But you know what I will be doing? I will be doing live preview and predictions videos for WWE Stomping Grounds this Sunday. I hope to get that up either Thursday or Friday, leaning towards Friday for my preview and predictions video. And, of course, my live WWE Stomping Grounds review. Be sure to join me here this Sunday live, immediately following the pay-per-view at 11 p.m., breaking down everything that took place on that show. Also going to be doing a live review for AEW Fyter Fest, which is the next AEW pay-per-view, which will be airing free on BNR Live streaming devices. So be sure to check that out on Saturday, June 29th. So can't wait to do a review for that. Also going to be doing a Top 5 SummerSlam 2019 Feuds video in the near future. So stay tuned for that as well. And also be sure to check out my links down below in the description box, facebook.com/DanielGaiza1994. And be sure to follow me on Twitter at DanielGaiza412. And be sure to check out the Kane Action Team. That is KaneActionTeam.com as well. And finally, my grade for this episode of Raw, I would give it a B+, guys. And real quick before we go off the air here, let's see here. Let's check the Twitter poll results. And be sure to participate at DanielGaiza412. So you guys agree, 90% thumbs up, 10% thumbs down. We're in agreement here, a solid episode of Raw. So I want to say thank you all for tuning into this live review. Be sure to click my like and subscribe button for more video content coming soon to this channel. And until next time, guys, I'll be back up here for more content coming soon here. So until then, thanks for watching, everybody, and have a good